When the campaigns for the general election of Kenya 2022 started, they started as a war between the hustlers and the dynasties. The people who came up with this idea were geniuses. These are the people who resonated well with the history of the mountain people and won their heart. In the election, there were two sides. One, the hustlers, who were led by the deputy president then, William Ruto, who was also elected as the president, and the other side, which they called the dynasties, which included President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga, who was vying for president, competing with William Ruto. The mountain people, in this case, are the Kikuyu, Meru with its sub-tribes, that is the Tharaka, Nithi, Chuka, among others, Embu and the Mbere. These people have always been peaceful through the centuries. They respected life and they won God. It took time for the outsiders, mostly colonialists and the slave traders, to enter these nations because of their fierce warriors who went to the point of rescuing slaves taken from other communities by Indians or Arabs and incorporating them into their nations. Every young man will join the army after initiation and protect the nation until they got married. A white man managed to enter this land at the end of the 19th century. In Kikuyu land, for example, they tricked Wayaki Wahinga into allowing them to build their offices somewhere in Kiambu. When Wayaki realized these people were cons and they were doing more than just having some kind of a headquarter, he burned this office. To cut the story short, they walked him along the Wayaki way and killed him in the area around Mtito Ande. The colonialists took three things from the mountain people. 1. Land. 2. Their spirituality. And 3. Their freedom. After independence, we got some land. Freedom without independence. And on spirituality, we lost too much. But we will get there. The land was the culprit. Some of you know the land injustices in Kenya. To get our land back, there was a catch. The millions of acres would change hands only on a willing seller, willing buyer basis. The president had to buy it off from the colonials. This is the same as the case in Zimbabwe and South Africa. You come take my land by force. You till it, get your resources, get your profits. Then I come back, but to take my land back, I have to pay you for tilling my land. The first president was allowed to take a loan to buy off the land from the white people. The land transfer was financed by loans from the World Bank, Germany and Britain. These loans plus interest were paid by the poor taxpayers. And the government did buy some of the land and we paid the loan. But most of the land ended up belonging to the president, his friends and elites who were mostly colonial beneficiaries, politicals, civil servants and home guards. This is because as the people were waiting for the government to buy back the land and give the people back for free, or the white government also allowed the people who had money to buy the land directly from the white settlers. That land was the biggest reason we had Mau. That land was the reason people paid the price with their blood so that their generations could live free and own back their land. Those who sided with the colonials were hated, and during the Mau War were killed together with the colonials. Now comes the hustlers versus dynasty narrative. This rejuvenated the hatred regardless of the previous our own people narrative, which had been used every other election. This time it was a war, a revolt, just like the Mau. This revolt was heightened by voices of the involvement of the president's family into corrupting the nation and making life difficult. The news of offshore accounts and properties followed by the COVID millionaires, increased power prices, high fuel prices and the costs of living. Without forgetting, President-elect 2022, that is William Ruto, some time back vowed to address historical land injustices. Raila, on the other hand, had the support of President Uhuru, and people linked this to President Uhuru trying to get someone who would protect his interests. Choosing Mother Karua as a running mate was a big step, as it won the hearts of many feminists. But this would not be enough. Mother trying to convince the mountain people to vote for the so-called dynasties was as difficult as a mother trying to convince her children that the white people is a good person amid the Mau War. So the people of the mountain revolted. This is still a war against the colonialists. in the history of the mountain people. They are still fighting to be independent, so bear with them. This was war, and they have won first round.